Well, welcome, Joe. I'm glad you're able to join me on our YouTube channel, and we're going to do something different and record this and then put you in front of 20 million fans. That's what we can.
Excellent.
For our viewers, I had the opportunity to catch up with Joe at a recent Chamber of Commerce meeting, and he's explained to me the new service that Queensland government has. Mate, I'm just happy for you to share what you do, recognizing my clients are generally owner-operated type businesses and commercial property investors. So that's the sort of market we're looking for, which I think is pretty well smack in the middle of your tennis court, I think.
Yeah. No, thank you, Peter. Thank you for having me. And it was nice to meet you in Bundaberg recently. And just a little bit of background. I work for the Queensland government. I have done that for the last 27 years. So been in Queensland government in the Queensland Public Service for quite a long time. Wife and I have run a couple of businesses in that time as well. So I have been a business owner in the past. So I kind of have that understanding of the challenges involved in running a little small business as well and being a sole trader. So do come from it from both lenses. Background to the role of a business concierge. When the recent
Very fancy name.
It is a very fancy name, but it makes a lot of sense. It was a bit of an adjustment at first, but it is essentially a role that has been put in place by the new government to essentially connect small and family businesses with services, support, programs, initiatives that will help them. And that's basically the rub of it. It sits within a department called the Department of Customer Services, Open Data, Small and Family Business.
Only government can come up with a name like that.
A bit of a mouthful. It's a new agency, got set up by the new Queensland government after the election. It's actually the first time that the Queensland government has had a dedicated customer service department in its history. It's modelled quite a bit on Services New South Wales. So bringing a lot of lessons from New South Wales, where they've had a dedicated customer service department for a number of years. And yeah, the Queensland government's kind of taken that on board and recognised that we basically need to be as easy as possible to access, whether we're, renewing our driver's licence or, we've had a child and we want to register their birth or we want to start a business, grow a business, find out what's happening, get things done with our registrations, all that kind of stuff. It all sits within our department. So a lot of work to be done. I've heard our minister, Mr. Steve Minikin, talk quite a few times around the number of customer relationship management databases there are across Queensland government. It's in the thousands. So, a lot of silos and things that don't necessarily talk to each other as efficiently as possible. So a lot of work and a lot of money has started rolling into work to kind of synchronize a lot of that in the next few years. And we're part of it from that small and family business perspective.
That's incredible. 1,000 databases is a little bit scary. So share with us what's your typical sort of type of inquiry in your role? What do you get? Give me a typical day. Yeah, that's always a scary thing to say, but
yeah, So as a service, the Business Concierge at the moment, there's 7 of us across Queensland. So we've got pretty big geographical areas. I cover from Bundaberg down to Moreton Bay, wide, Fraser Coast, Gympie, North Burnett, South Burnett, Noosa, Sunshine Coast. So quite a big area of coverage. So a lot of the time is spent working with our local councils and our other state agencies, building connections, sharing information, just making sure that the people closest to the business community are aware of, what we do, how we operate, and some of the products and services that the Queensland government has. So that's a major part of it. So a lot of the time it is networking with those small business support teams, economic development teams at the councils, so Bundaberg Council, people like that, having a really good understanding of the local economic environment, so economic development strategies. I'm heading to Bundaberg tomorrow to listen in on some of the community consultations that are happening up there, just to get a good picture of where they're thinking they want to go with the business and economic environment in Bundy. So just having a good handle and good relationships with people on the ground is really critical. As far as that day-to-day interaction with a small and family business, it's generally either in person, like I just had a cup of coffee with a lady in business on the Sunshine Coast. A lot of it is around just making connections for her with different people that I know, different programs that might benefit her business, potentially grants at different times when they're available, and just anything that she needs to help grow her business in whatever area she wants to. So with her, next week she's going to be doing a mentoring for growth session with our department, which is a 45-minute to an hour session with a panel of volunteer mentors that the Queensland government
I used to be one of those, so I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, it's been around for 20 years. It's a great service, and at the moment we've got about 400 active volunteer mentors. So as you know, Peter, it's evolved a little bit, especially since COVID. It's predominantly virtual. So this kind of thing where they'll do a virtual panel. It's essentially an ideation session for the business owner. So they can, pretty much fill in a form, identify what areas of their business they want to talk about, whether it's, a growth challenge, or they might be having, questions around their marketing strategy, or, workforce, whatever it could be. It could be some legal things or financial matters. Basically the Mentoring for Growth team, who you may know, Louise and Nicole and people like that. They're probably people that you have met in the past. They've been there a long time as well. They spend and they spend a lot of time in the background just mapping the right mentors to that particular business for that conversation, and then they get together for 45 minutes to an hour and have a really good chat, throw some ideas around, and then we provide a bit of a report at the end to that business owner, just to map it out for them and leave them with something that they can have a think about and maybe start working on.
I think from my time as a business consultant, probably the two most common questions we got was in regards to where do I go for grants, and where do I go for help. So if you can send me links for the Mentor for Growth and the grants, because I know that's gone a long way to making it a lot simplified to finding all the grants now. And I'll put that in the comments section in the video so people can run through. And if you want me to get them to ring you if they're in that geographic area, which is about half of Queensland that you've got, you make my area look even a little bit small there. And at least that gives them points to run with. So,
that's fine. Good. And we've got a website link off the Business Queensland website as well to the concierge service. So that gives everybody's contacts across Queensland. And I'll also send you a link to the Small Business Support Network, which is the broader financial counselling service, the small business wellbeing coaches as well. So that service has just been extended another 3 years with an additional $15 million of funding. Those two services have been super important since COVID and all the natural disasters that have been happening, weather events this year. They've been, really critical in helping businesses in distress, whether financial or just emotional distress, just having somebody that they can confidentially reach out to and get some advice and guidance around, trying to, I suppose, move out of that fight or flight mode, that
Mm.
people can get into in these situations, and just have somebody else that they can, have a conversation with and just start mapping out a plan of attack to, whether it's to start talking to the tax office or,
Mm.
debtors or, in the case of commercial premises, maybe some lease negotiations, things like that.
Yeah.
So those services have been, recommitted to by the new government for the next 3 years, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's very important. I mean, when I look at trends I have around our combined territory, um, a lot of businesses, particularly in the heavy industries, have had a good couple of years. But what people sometimes don't understand is if you double your revenue, and a lot of these people have gotten that, you need to quadruple your cash flow. And there's a lot of financial pressures now going through. And the the beauty with your work is when you go into a regional area, it's not like you can go to the local office and there's a state government infrastructure in place, or any infrastructure in place to help them. It's the sparsity of population is a big challenge. You go to some of my smaller towns like Monto and Biggerdon, Gayndah, that sort of type region in the North and South Burnett, and it's challenging to get them the infrastructure services that we take for granted on the Sunshine Coast in Brisbane. So I think it's really good that we have this mechanism and that we can apply that, because it gives those people the same level of service they have if they were in Brisbane CBD. So yeah, if you can send me whatever links you've got, and I'll flick it out there. But I think that's one of the big trends that I've seen, um, particularly in the smaller to medium enterprises. They've had a good couple of years, but they're tired, and a lot of them are finding, wow, we really needed to use cash, and they've had to use their tax accounts to pay their bills, which they shouldn't, but you got to do what you got to do. But at the end of the day, it does come back. And look, I can speak from experiences. There's plenty of options you have. The creditors aren't like what they used to be in government. Tax office is good. They'll do your payment plans. Centrelink will do the same. So the space is there. So I think that's it. I think that's maybe sad, that I think that's going to be a lot more people using it. But then again, it's really good because mental health as a business person, that the pressure in business is huge, and it doesn't get easier.
No, and if you're, one of the vast majority of businesses that, you're either a sole trader or a partner, or you might have one or two employees, it's a pretty lonely, space, and you need to have a network of support, and it's simple. Like I spend a lot of time just talking to businesses around, just asking them questions about, do they go to Coffee Connect, things with the local chambers, just having that ability to reach out to a network of like-minded people for a coffee at the very bare minimum on a Friday morning or something like that, just to say good day to a few people. It's not necessarily about doing business, it's just about that connection. But if some business comes of it, fantastic. And
just information,
yeah,
understanding
that's
what's
right.
going on in town and what services are now available. That's definitely is an important thing for people. So, and I think the other big trend I see now is, and again, it goes to that mental health, is I ask my clients, when was the last time you had a holiday? I spoke to one guy yesterday who's looking to sell his business. It's been 10 years since he's had more than 2 days off in a row.
Yeah.
I'm sort of sitting there thinking, whoa, this is one tough dude.
Yeah.
But once again, that's increasing. So we need to provide some good mental health support. And that's great, the work that you're doing, Joe. And kudos to the government for getting that up and running. So I think there'll be a lot of people that can use it. So, and
I think the
are the
main
services
message,
free or chargeable, or?
Well, you all pay your taxes, so they're not free, but a vast majority of it costs nothing other than time. So, across the Australian government Queensland government, local government, there's a lot of support for small businesses, but it is a hard system to navigate. And I think that's probably the key message from us is there are, and it's not even necessarily just the business concierge service. There's, people in state government, in Bundaberg state development, people like that. It's really just a matter of reaching out to someone at some level of government, and we'll all kind of work together to find the right solution for your business. We spend a lot of time sharing information, collaborating, whether it's the local council, small business support people, or, state or Aussie industry, people like that. We're always talking to each other, and, if you can connect with one of us, it pretty much connects you to a whole network of small business support people. And we just try and make it as easy as possible. That's our goal, I can spend a little bit of time in my day researching and finding stuff because I'm getting paid. You're running a business. Other people, that might listen to this are running a business. It's really hard to take that time out and try and find the right thing at the right time.
Yeah.
So,
and it takes you 2 minutes where it could take us, significantly longer to work with.
Yeah, well, it could take me a while. Like some things are a bit difficult to find even when you know what you're looking for. But again, I can do that. If you're running a business, it's really hard to do that and keep that cash flow going. I mean, that's something that the new government's really recognised as well, is that, we want businesses making a profit. We want them to be successful. We don't want businesses falling over. We want to make it, we want to reduce red tape. That's another big push for the new government is, trying to reduce as much bureaucracy and red tape as we possibly can. So there's some mechanisms now to provide the government with examples of that.
That's a good thing. I did the survey on that recently.
Yeah.
And it's, you just take it for granted. And then sometimes when you think about it, I say, wow, okay. I mean, in the real estate industry, there's a whole new raft of legislation on disclosure. And for a real estate industry person, you go, whoa, that's significant. We've gone from, there's another 8 pages on our contracts, and our listing forms. Yeah, not making it easier. So, mate, I put in my my very professional and very polite thoughts on what I thought on that, and a couple of suggestions as well. So, and I think that's good open feedback. It's nice to have a business focused government. So, all right, you got 10 seconds left. What do you want to tell me?
Well, I think even just to summarise it, there's probably three key points around. There's a small and family business first action plan that anybody can have a look at. It's about 10 pages online. Provides a really good picture of the Queensland business environment and some of the priorities. Probably the 3 main things I can think of are, get out of the way when we need to. So reduce red tape, reduce bureaucracy where possible, provide opportunities for small and family business to be a supplier to government at all levels. So there's a real push on, trying to maximise opportunities for businesses to build their capability so that they can contract to government at all levels, and, get support when you need it and how you need it, and, the best way that you want to access it, whether it's this kind of thing online, in person, on a website, whatever. We're really trying to focus in on making that customer experience as simple as possible. So, yeah.
Excellent. So how do the 20 million viewers that we have online, how do they contact you, Joe?
I think the most simplest way at the moment is go to www.business.qld.gov.au/concierge, and that'll pop up our contact details, and there's a contact us request form, and can book in for one of these chats, and we can go from there.
Awesome, mate.
It's not a one-off too. Like we always, like every small and family business that I'm talking to at the moment, I'll follow up generally in about 6 to 8 weeks after our first conversation. people can reach out to me in between that, of course, but we want to make sure that, you know, things that we've talked about and things we've maybe tried to connect to, they're working. If they're not, we'll find something else to connect you to. That's the key. So
That's good.
yeah,
it's important to have follow-up.
yeah.
Mate, that's awesome. Thanks very much.
Oh.
I thought we'd have a good opportunity to catch up when we met at Chamber of Commerce, because there's a lot of overlap on the clients that we have.
Yeah.
Happy to share their message, and thanks for your time, mate.
No worries. And I think, again, probably in your game, you would see a lot of succession planning and things like that as well, you know, getting businesses to the point where their resale value is as high as possible. So there's things like that we can talk about, different connections we can make in that space as well. So, yeah.
Cool. All right. We'll finish off on that, mate.
Thank
Thanks
you,
very much,
Peter.
Joe.